Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Yoshi, does it make you feel a little bit better, at least, that regardless of what happened with the Cloud9 games, that with AOE taking this first win, I mean, Destiny was out of your hands. You're going to have to shave anyways.
Not really. I mean, I was mostly just sad when I saw that Dignitas dropped a game to Immortals yesterday, which I still need to go back and actually see the tape for, because I was like, wait, this is supposed to be an easy 4-0 week for Dignitas, and they lost yesterday, which made it so it was not possible today. So I was like, it is what it is. Dignitas, they got some of my favorite players on them, but I'm not sad that AOE won either, because AOE have been one of my favorite teams to watch because they're just so fun. They just do things.
Hear me out, Josh. Dignitas saw that Cloud9 were locked in first, and they were like, it doesn't matter. We're locked in second. We can throw a couple games, and get
someone order the pizza. Let's get some pop in here. Let's just play some League of Legends. Write it down, have some fun type vibes.
Yeah, I don't want to say that because I do think that AOE earned that win. They were outplayed. Dignitas, they were definitely trying to get Darkwings in the mid lane over and over and over again, and I do feel that he misplayed. But this is just the copium for Josh, really.
The cope. Hey,
we need some of that.
Hey, it's definitely fun to see, so mad respect to that. We still have another game between these two, but first, we're going to take a second to reflect back on these teams, the players, and their journeys through the split so far. If I had sad or reflective piano music,
do I have anything in my soundboard?
Right,
I don't think so. Does this work?
Wow.
No, I don't know if that's the vibe, but try another. Very reflective.
That is some very sad, reflective piano music you have going on there.
There we go. We found it. Phenomenal. That's the one.
I love that.
That's the one.
Perfect.
That's the one.
Now that we got the vibe set, I have a couple of prompts, and then we're just going to talk about during this split, okay? We're not looking at 2022. That's in the past. We're not looking at the future. We're just looking at where they've come so far, okay?
We're looking at the past, but not like the past. Just like
only
recent
like the
past.
Only the past that I can remember off the top of my head, all right?
I got you.
All right.
I have a very good memory, so...
both of her doesn't work to remember either, but yeah.
All right, so first off, want to talk about just the most improved during the split.
And we're still only talking about these two teams.
Only talking about the players of these two teams, yes.
These two teams between Dignitas and AOE, you look like you're ready, Steve.
I am just adding motion so that it doesn't get boring while I think.
He still has the vibe going on, the sad reflective piano music, and he's going, he's ready.
I know. I got my answer.
All right,
I'm
what's
go
your
with the
answer?
mid lane for AOE Darkwings. Darkwings came into this split as a terrible laner. Terrible laner. Maybe the worst laner in the mid lane.
Do you have a sound bit for that, Steve?
I got it.
He just beat Insanity in lane after getting 3-man ganked twice. He just beat him, and it wasn't close. That's a huge point of growth for Darkwings, and we have seen a huge amount of growth from Darkwings over the course of this regular split. It was also something that we saw during their time on Dignitas. Oh, that's too far in the past, but it was something we saw previously. Hopefully Darkwings can continue to recreate it and showcase that they are deserving of a spot and potentially can do well in playoffs.
That was a good one. That was good, Josh.
Very piano melancholic reflections music.
I was waiting to hit the wow until after we finished, and I accidentally hit it. So I hope that didn't, jumble your thought process there.
Only a little bit.
I
will be making the noises with my mouth too.
When I was looking at the list and thinking about who I wanted, I think Darkwings would also be my front runner for most improved throughout the split.
Perfect. We have soundboards too, okay?
Yes.
All right.
We have manual soundboards, not your automatic. Can't believe you can't even drive stick.
I bet you only have 30 of those programmed or something. We have thousands.
Hey, Josh, you don't drive stick either.
I don't drive stick.
Damn, neither of you guys
I look like I do
stick?
right now.
Judging.
Well, I ride a motorcycle, which is technically still manual. It's not a stick, but it's like a lever,
I rode motorcycles when I was 7 years old, Kanga, so I don't really know if that's the flex you think it is.
I'm not as cool as you, but
I don't know if that's the flex.
I think it counts as riding a stick. Phrasing. Driving a stick. Let's go to the next question. How about that?
Also, there are dirt bikes before anyone's like, wow, your parents. All right. Next up, throughout their time this split, most reliable.
Most reliable.
Before this game, I was going to say Insanity.
I'm going to go with Diamond, actually. I think Diamond's all reliable for Dignitas. I feel like even his worst games, like, I can't remember Diamond inting at all. This entire split. Has he had, like, a really bad game yet?
I'm sure I could find one, but it's not that comes to mind.
If you can't think of one,
but not coming to mind.
Yeah.
None come to mind. Like, Diamond has been super reliable basically every year that he's been in the Academy/Challengers ecosystem. He's just constantly doing well.
Yeah.
I love that.
He's also one of our older players.
This is boring, Josh. We got to disagree on stuff. We have to start thinking of different names.
All right. Stab you in the feet.
Oh. Sorry, you want entertainment, so our next one, we'll ask about which player has been the most entertaining to watch during the split. You know, whether it's great outplays, whether it's
Winnie.
Whatever you want.
Easy. Winnie's been the most entertaining in the split.
All right, why here?
Because he's the one who is the life and death of AOE. He will make massive decisions for his team, and he will commit to them. And they are both awfully terrible and incredibly exciting, right? They go for some things that they're not supposed to. They go for some things that they are supposed to, and every single time, you know that Winnie is going to make something happen that game.
It's hard to argue with that, because I agree with all of that, but I do still rate Hoon a little bit higher for a lot of similar reasons. Not always necessarily like the engage for the team, but he's always making something happen. And if he gets 2 solo kills in this next game, he will catch up to Eminence. That's exciting! I don't know what else you want from a narrative standpoint. I mean, what are we supposed to do as broadcasters except talk about solo kills all the time?
You know what the issue is, though, Kangas? You know what the issue is? Top laner. So...
Top laners suck as a top laner myself.
That is okay. You know that's not what I was saying.
I don't really have a rebuttal to that one, so yeah.
All right.
Nah, we love all of our top laners equally.
Well, we'll go
just
with
not
positive.
As much as the other players.
We'll go to positive vibe next. During the split so far, who's just the best spirits? Who's just, awesome that, hey, we've got this, just hitting off the rift.
That also Diamond?
I was going to say Winnie again.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, Winnie's definitely a player who, like, when he was playing on University of Western Ontario, which was not this year, so it kind of doesn't count, but he was the player who was always talking about, like, yeah, guys, we're still in this. We can still win this. Here's what we got to do in order to make sure we can still win these games. And I feel like that is the mark of somebody who's just going to improve the vibes on a team, always keeping everybody in the right mindset for victory.
I guess it's just tough because we haven't heard as much from AOE. They haven't been winning as much as Dignitas, so we have more interviews from Dignitas, and I just hear so many people talking about Diamond and the effect that he has on the positive mental of the team. Even Insanity, too, had gotten a lot of props and praise from some of the teammates. So,
true.
Yeah, just win more games, Winnie.
I mean, hey, if they win the next one, another opportunity to talk and maybe
They did literally win the last one, so that's a good start.
All right, and then I think based off time, this will be our last question. Your own personal favorite to follow. You're the player that you just like watching or seeing succeed or anything else. So you could be totally biased on this one. This is your chance.
Insanity. Insanity's been my favorite player for a while between these two teams, partly because he was one of my OGs, right? Back when I first started being part of this ecosystem for Team Liquid Academy, it was Insanity who was playing on that team. It's part of why he and Jenkins kind of have a special place in my heart as players that were some of the first people that I kind of got to know in this scene, and I'm excited to see that Insanity might still have an opportunity to move back up to LCS if he remains playing more like he did the rest of the split and not our last game.
And Insanity is a player that in his time in LCS, I was still a fan of him as well. I think that he played,
Hey, you can't have the same favorite as I do.
Well, no, I'm just giving further props. I love all of the players equally, but I definitely love Darkwings the most. So Darkwings is my pick. I've been hot on Darkwings for a while. I felt that he was one of my favorite players on the roster even back last spring. I was shocked when they moved forward with Insanity instead replacing Darkwings because they wanted more veteran voices on the roster. It made sense. They were very vocal about that, saying we had just too many rookies, too many people that weren't confident in what they wanted to do, and I'm excited to see how Darkwings continues to develop as a player. after just beating Insanity, the guy that replaced him. So pretty cool.
All right, well, keeping on the path of reflecting, we'll have to see if Dignitas could reflect on that loss they just took and turn it around to try and go at least even for the week. The draft is ready. Have fun, you too.
Thank you, Sierra. Wow, she's making me like emotional now. Thinking about all the memories we've had this year, Josh. 7 weeks. This is it.
I only cry when I cut onions.
Oh, and when you lose to me at Warhammer.
Yeah, that hasn't happened.
It will.
It will. It's very close.
So close.
Anyway,
I like how you mentioned stabbing my feet, and I just didn't, acknowledge it.
You didn't even respond. You didn't say that you're going to step on me.
Even though that was a reference.
It just sounded absurdly violent, like a threat. But
in like a really weird niche way. But yes, I think you got the message across. All right, game 2. Refocusing right now. AOE now on the blue side. They have a chance, if they win this game, to actually finish 50-50 and catch up to some of the other teams. I mean, it won't affect the standings from this point.
True.
But still would feel good for them to say, hey, we ended at that 50-50 record when they were a team that we had said at the beginning of the split. This is the provisional team built to not get relegated. They were built to compete with the challenger teams, and it's been a long ramp up, but who knows? Maybe they're there now.
True. And it is worth noting that after that win, they will be very close in the standings to IMT. They will have the same number of game wins, but it was very important that the number of wins that you had is different than like the series score, right? There will be a different number of match wins versus like head-to-head and all that as a tiebreaker between Immortals and AOE, even if AOE does end up winning this game. And so as we start looking at that a little bit further, AOE, starting off with the Caitlyn, something that Lynx and Skytech have played to a lot of success because they can be super aggressive early on in this laning phase.
And actually, if I'm doing my math right here, just to go back to that point real quick, I believe they would overtake Immortals Challengers.
They would. They would get 10th.
Yeah, because they would have more 2-0s than Immortals would. So a win here is actually very impactful for AOE. Going from 11th to 10th means that you're changing basically like you go up against Team Liquid or FlyQuest Challengers first round, potentially, one of those types of teams. So let's see how they plan to do it. You mentioned it, the Caitlyn, blue one for AOE, and Dignitas Challengers go to Varus and Sejuani. So we're back to kind of like a patch or two ago's meta.
Yeah, I mean, both these characters are good. Varus constantly emerges as one of the counterpicks to Caitlyn every time Caitlyn becomes strong. It's Varus, Ashe, sometimes Jhin as well in that category, just because they have enough range to kind of contest all of the range that Caitlyn is bringing to the table. But we also see, as the Lux is banned away, it's a little bit surprising to me that we do end up going towards the Caitlyn anyway, and Darkwing's going to be blinding the Ahri this time. That's a lot of pressure that they're going to be putting on the mid lane with the ultimate from Winnie into the charm coming from Darkwing's, basically guaranteeing every single time that you will be crowd controlling somebody almost until death.
Yeah, they have a lot of setup. Honestly, for each other, too. Sometimes the Ahri can be the one to set it up so that the Vi can get in range. If you layer the Vault Breaker on there, too, even better. So let's see what Insanity wants to pilot into it to stay safe. The Talia would make a lot of sense. I mean, you can throw out the little rocks. Makes Ahri and Vi's job much harder.
Makes it harder, but still not impossible. This is definitely something where Insanity will need to be very careful early on, because Talia's first couple of levels, not very impactful. You really need to get some points into that queue. And at level 6, when Darkwings probably will get that before Insanity will, that's a really dangerous time. So Insanity is definitely... trying to stay safe. Will probably be down a couple of waves in terms of farm, but will try and be in a position where they can just do front-to-back damage later on, because Dignitas have already built 2 powerful backline carries that can't dive themselves and rely on setup from the rest of the team.
We get a couple bans coming through for both teams. AOE taking away the Renekton, Dignitas taking away the Rakan, interestingly enough. Usually we're only seeing that paired with the Xayah, but they're still concerned that Skytech would gravitate towards that. Maybe just other engage options, too, if you really want to dig deeper. I mean, we've seen paired with the Lux, mostly the Karma and... the Caitlyn has been paired with the Lux and the Karma, but both of those are already off the table.
Yeah, the Sion ban also getting taken off the table, as well as Gamsu did pretty good last game on the Gnar, actually finding a solo kill into the Cho'Gath. That is definitely a more difficult matchup for the Gnar to pilot, so Hoon turning it around, or Gamsu turning it around on Hoon, definitely was a big part of Dignitas falling in Game 1. And so, as you start looking towards the rest of the draft, I'm kind of curious what it is that Hoon will be looking to take. It feels like a Fiora might be a natural early ban, especially now that AOE have banned the #1 counter pick to Fiora.
Yeah, there's a lot of top lane focus here in the second round of bans. They could opt for a support if they want to go for the counter pick, though. I don't think that they're necessarily pressured to go immediately to their top laner if they want to give Hoon the best possible matchup, but the Fiora is still enticing. Okay, I got a little baited right there with the Garrett hover, but it is Jax as their blind pick.
Yeah, I mean, Jax is a pretty decent matchup into Fiora as well. It feels as though AoE is going to be pushed off onto something a little bit more tanky. The Orange still has a pretty decent matchup here. Sion already off the table. I feel like that might be what Gamsu is going to be starting to look at, but actually Mordekaiser might be something that is also going to be on the table. It's not the best duelist, but you can be very aggressive with it.
Yeah, and it's something Gamsu uniquely plays, but they go for the Poppy instead. Now, I mean, I guess this doesn't give us 100% confidence. I have seen some Poppy supports, but I'm assuming that will be for Gamsu.
That's just Deef.
Skytech can lock in something else here, yeah.
Yeah, Deef is definitely probably the biggest Poppy support player I've ever met. But as it does come through, it's almost definitely going to be going for Gamsu, but we will know very shortly. I feel like the Poppy is just okay here, right? It is a pretty decent lane matchup, and...
What did I say?
Wow.
We're not 100% confident in where it's going. We get the Rumble lock-in.
Wow, okay. That's definitely a surprising pick to be coming through. Rumble really wins a lot of front-to-back teamfights, basically all on their own, and it creates a lot of pressure, especially on this relatively immobile backline, to get off of the equalizer. And if you can lock somebody down on top of it, there's a lot of pressure. So this Tahm Kench will try and alleviate that. It nullifies almost everything that Winnie is going to be trying to do on this Vi, but now Diamond is going to be split between the front line, trying to be an engage, and in the back line.
I want to say something. I'm not actually confident it's a Poppy support because of Skytech as a player, and now that I'm looking at it, they do still have Rumble in the support role. Remember, Skytech played Lissandra support, could be pulling out Rumble support here. I mean, we've seen the
I think it's more likely, actually.
Yeah, we've seen the ranged carries piloted by supports throughout the year. Things even like Busio playing a Zir support in LCS. Caitlyn was a support for a brief time. So if you factor in the fact, you're just trying to bully lane, just trying to shove this wave in. Rumble does have a lot of wave clear.
Yeah.
And I think we're past the time where they can trade it. So that's it. Skytech's playing Rumble support in a literal standings deciding game. If they win this game, they overtake Immortals and will be 10th seed. If they lose, they stay in 11th seed. This is pretty bold from Skytech and team.
Pretty bold. I also have a fun stat for you, Steve. This matchup has not been played a single time this patch in Platinum Plus.
Caitlyn Rumble versus Vera's Tahm Kench? No way.
It has not been played a single time.
What are the odds?
0 games of Rumble support versus Tahm Kench on this patch. Neither of these are particularly popular in solo queue, so I'm not super surprised by that, but it is definitely surprising that it is 0. Right, the number is going to be low, but it is definitely going to be a spot where Skytech, I mean, Rumble does the same thing kind of wherever he's located on the map. He's still going to be pushing around the opponent, using the Flame Spreader to build up a lot of priority and try and keep the opposing side underneath their own turret. The big question that you always have with Rumble is, one, are they going to be good at managing their heat, which I've never seen Skytech play this champion before, but also, how aggressive can they be with their Zhonya's? One of the big things about Rumble is because your Flame Spreader continues to go off while you're in stasis, it is very, very important that you position yourself well to either do a ton of damage or zone while you can't be hit back.
And if we go to the fact that there's just no tape to give precedent for this matchup, it will come down to who's more creative. How do they read the situation, the lane state, and how do they choose to approach it? Theoretically, I feel that the Caitlyn Rumble should win this, but obviously, we don't know. So it will come down to the performance of the players. It looks like Twitch chat right now is on AOE side, though. Well ahead of Dignitas in the fan vote.
Yeah, it's definitely not the most surprising thing. AOE did just come off a pretty good win. AOE have been looking pretty darn strong in some of their games for sure, but Dignitas, they've also been on a little bit of a downslide. They've admittedly had a very tough schedule, but Immortals and AOE were not supposed to be the toughest of opponents. And so we're really looking, I'm really going to be zeroing in on my favorite player on the Rift right now in Insanity to actually turn this one around, because last game was super uncharacteristic.
I feel that the Annie is not something I expect from Insanity or think of when I think of Insanity's playstyle. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and chalk it up to not enough practice given the game state that they found themselves in, and when the early game they weren't able to punish Darkwings enough. Just didn't get accelerated and fell too far behind. On the Talia, this is an Insanity champ. Like, we had highlight reels of Insanity on this going into Proving Grounds in summer, and absolutely something he can pilot. But XU's going for an early gank bot lane. Skytech and Lynx will have to absorb this, and there's just no mobility on Skytech, so the Rumble support, no! The narrative, the hype! First blood to spawn.
The narrative, it's cursed. They end up getting a kill over. It goes over to Skytech, but they still have the flash. XU, though, the path not going to be punished at all, as now that this kill has happened down in the bottom lane, there's no real possibility of invade for AOE. They've already got away with the first kill. And up on the top side, look how Hoon is dominating Gamsu early on in this lane. Gamsu will really come online a little bit later, needs a couple more levels in that queue. But for now, I mean, Hoon's doing a fantastic job really controlling this top side.
Hoon's got to get 2 more kills, man. Yeah, we can't let the guy not in the league for 2 weeks have the most solo kills. Hoon, you are our savior.
Does Lunasi have any games left to go?
Lunasi does have 1 more game. I think it's happening right now. I actually don't remember when the schedule was, and is at 22 solo kills. So we'd need to pick up 4 solo kills in that series.
2 games.
A little harder than 2, but possible.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I was going to say Gamsu is one of the tougher guys to get solo kills up against, and it was Gamsu that got the solo kill last game. So we'll see what Hoon can actually do, but so far Dignitas are already looking a little bit better. Insanity not really getting punished early on in the lane, as I was kind of expecting to be seeing from Darkwings. But it is definitely a position where Winnie has not yet made their appearance known on the map. Just going for a full clear, does get one of the crabs, and we'll be meeting XU towards the top side while Gamsu and Darkwings both have Prio.
Yeah, Gamsu's a little low health though, and doesn't matter. XU realizes does not have a backup, so runs away, and that is the scuttle picked up for Winnie. Gamsu's wave is pushing in. Hoon's got it kind of frozen, and they know XU's top, so Winnie has to stick around now.
Yeah, and XU is also here. Both junglers ready, and Hoon
going for it.
Jump out.
Oh, wait a minute. The Vault Breaker misses, and XU picks up the kill on the Gamsu. Winnie will fall. That's a double kill to Sejuani.
Oh my god, this wave is frozen too. Hoon's going to be able to teleport right on back, but can't be missing those. That's 2 kills going right on over. A little bit of miscommunication as to how they were actually going to be playing that fight out. That is so much money that's gotten picked up by Hoon, by XU so far in this game. We'll take another look at it, but it really is just Hoon looking for this opportunity and just like they group on top of each other. They don't agree what they're going to be trying to do afterwards, and that's a disaster coming out for the side of AOE, but a miracle coming through for Dignitas.
And now back to live. It looks like we got a 1v1. Oh, Hoon almost got it. That's flash out of Gamsu. And now he's going to have to try and catch his wave under turret. Hoon might go for the solo kill. Has level 6.
Gamsu is 1 minion away, though. Yeah, there it is. There's no way you can do it anymore.
Counter-Strike used. Okay, now there's no angle for Hoon. You don't have the stun anymore. Can trade, though, with the Sheen autos, so I say it's not happening. Maybe it still does. Gamsu's got to be careful. All right, Hoon leap strikes away.
Yeah, it's very, very tough to go for this dive, and we do see Dignitas. They are roaring back into this game. AOE, it felt like it was all about Darkwings early on last game. This time, Darkwing's still looking for an opportunity to get into the game, and it is definitely a spot where it feels as though the shot calling that Dignitas pride themselves on, the other team praised them for, is really coming into the fruition, right? We saw how aggressively they went for the gank bottom lane, a great opportunity, the instant response to the whiffed Q already coming through.
Winnie's bot now. Oh, this is bad. Diamond picked a wrong time to go in. Winnie will punish this, so Diamond says, yeah, I'll just try and maybe get Skytech for my trouble. As Spawn will have to watch his support fall. Lynx gets the kill credit.
No vision there. Diamond goes in, not expecting Winnie to be around. You called it. It's the wrong time. XQ's just going to be clearing out some minions, so not the worst thing ever, and no response coming through for Dignitas. We were setting up Lynx and Skytech were probably going to be one of the major win conditions for AOE going into this series, right? They have been doing really, really well into so many of the top bottom lanes in terms of laning, but this time Skytech dying so early has really made it so much more difficult for them to actually build up any kind of advantage there, and they relied on a missed timing coming in from Diamond, thinking that they could win a 2v2.
At this point, with the lanes going pretty poorly for AOE, I think it'll come down to their secondary game plan, which is utilize their combos, the Vi engage, the Ahri follow-up we talked about, but now with the Rumble ult on top of it, maybe they can find a big play around like a Dragon or a Herald setup. Skytech is only level 4, though, for this Herald, as Darkwings has to flash away from the Unraveled Earth. And the seismic shove gets towards Skytech, who is now walking up. Darkwings is about to go down, though. A lot of damage. Diamond's going for it. He has flash. One flash Q will kill Darkwings, but I think they'll just take Skytech. They don't need to over push for Darkwings, too, but oh, Insanity wants this.
Insanity wants this. Does have the Weaver's Wall. Doesn't look like they're going to be throwing it out. He's still hunting, but Hoon.
He's still hunting, but meanwhile, Hoon's actually in a world of hurt right now. No way! Getting solo killed by Gamsu twice. All right, Winnie will get the kill credit. Not a solo kill, but still.
You know, it's a solo kill with help. It's a solo kill with help.
Solo kill with assistance. Yep.
Yeah. So, still, that's another time that Gamsu actually is getting the better of Hoon in the side lane. Not what we were expecting whatsoever. We were saying it was going to be hard for Hoon to get the solo kills, but we weren't expecting Gamsu to get any of their own. XU will be very grateful for all this extra farm, but instead going to be trying to deny this Rift Herald.
Yeah, Gamsu back does not have teleport. This was a really rough call from Winnie. You don't have push mid. You do not have priority top lane.
Yeah.
And Diamond roams up, gets the kill.
Yeah, no flash available for Winnie has just come up. No way for them to get over. Great body blocking coming out from Dignitas. And so, AOE, this is a bold contest if they try and go for it. Skytech's still only level 5.
Yeah, the Herald reset, though. Diamond's also only level 5, and Skytech should out-damage right now. Darkwings
Here comes Hoon.
has pushed mid, roaming up. Hoon's coming in.
The Weaver's Wall.
A 4v3 in favor of Dignitas. XU just pulls the trigger, jumping onto Darkwings, trying to reposition. Hoon's in there. Skytech goes down. Diamond picks up that kill. As now Gamsu doing a good job frontlining for now. Bot time for Winnie to get back in. XU's going down. Smite steal for Winnie. And a double kill picked up. Charm lands onto XU. That should be a third kill for AOE. Winnie can grab that one too. Triple kill to Winnie. Might go for the Quadra as Insanity has no flash left available. Not enough mana for a vault for the seismic shove. So easy setup, and Darkwings gets the kill. AOE roar back to life.
Now Dignitas do end up getting the Rift Herald. There was no Smite Steal there, but that's 4 kills coming back in for AOE. Dignitas were so confused. What are they doing? Are they trying to hit the Herald? Are they trying to go for the fight? Do they need to go in? Do they need to go out? Nobody knows. And that's one of the things that we've been saying so much praises for Dignitas Challengers in the past. Whether there's more relaxed, whether this is just AOE being more decisive and showcasing that again, it is definitely another small lead or another equalization coming out from AOE. They didn't even need the equalizer to do it.
Imagine when Skytech's level 6, how much it works.
Imagine if I had a real weapon.
We have level 5 supportal combat yet again. Diamond is guy to fed right now, and XU's here. Skytech hit by the Glacial Prison, and Spawn can follow up. Diamond gets a third kill. I don't know if that was intended. I think you could have given that to Spawn, but let's get a look at a replay here.
But yeah, let's take a look at how this actually works out, right? It starts off with Insanity cutting them off with the Weaver's Wall, forcing AOE into the fight. And they take so much damage. Dignitas take a long time to actually turn off of the Rift Herald. And once you see the first person go down, you actually see XU spending all of his DPS over here on the Rift Herald as well. They don't have the damage necessary to actually kill anybody further. And from there, I mean, Insanity still looks to be going for the fight, but XU doesn't have the HP to do it. They are not sure whether or not they want to go in or not, but AOE are 100% sure what it is that they're trying to do. Winnie, I believe, gets all 4 kills here.
Yeah, Darkwings is the last.
Oh, Darkwings gets 1.
Yeah.
Still, 4 kills going over for the Rift Herald, and we are bang on even again.
Even gold. No turrets taken on either side, just a dragon lead for Dignitas.
Yeah.
And I guess you could count the 600 gold lead if you want. It's barely anything
there.
though. As we're starting up the next dragon, AOE are even looking to even up those. Very, very close game in a very contested series. AOE want this win. This is very important for them in the standings. As Dignitas walk up, XU with the Glacial Prison, but the re-engage comes in from Winnie, and now they have the Equalizer. Doesn't actually accomplish much, though, as Winnie will still fall. Dignitas pick up 1 kill. XU taking a lot of damage. Darkwings is jumping back in. Fear Rush available. Gets the kill. Insanity as well. Darkwings, 1 more Orb of Deception should do it, and there it is. Double kill as Lynx, 1v1 spawn on the side, pushes him back, and another to Darkwings in the pit. A triple to the Ahri.
Ooh, Lynx is looking for it. Doesn't have the flash. Wins the net coming up. Not going to be there. Spawn walks away. But it is going to be an equalization yet again. AOE are just out team fighting Dignitas in every way possible. They are out shot calling them. They are at the objectives first. And look at that. 4-0-3 for Darkwings.
What a surge for this player. We talked about the top lane matchup, how that's where our eyes were going to be for most of this game. And a bit of a snooze fest, but mid lane also rich in the Darkwings is playing up against a guy that replaced him on Dignitas Academy last year and is having maybe the best series of the entire split.
Yeah. Yet again, we see Dignitas being the one to actually start this fight, but the Equalizer splits it up. Insanity and Spawn lose crucial moments of DPS. And then after that, I mean, Diamond is not able to get the next part. XU takes so much damage on the backswing, and even though Skytech's down, he didn't have anything left to contribute. It's all about Darkwings and Lynx from this position. And Darkwings has typically been a player who's really clutch at keeping himself alive in a lot of these fights. Now they're looking for Insanity.
Yeah, there's the flash available, but there's the layered CC. Beautiful from AOE. The Vi Ahri combo with the Equalizer over the top. Nice pick in the mid lane.
We said it was going to be dangerous, and that is exactly what we were talking about. Oh, Gamsu, there might be a solo kill angle here.
Actually, I think Hoon gets this. Yeah, Keeper's Verdict pops up. Hoon pops the ultimate. And no one goes in. Gamsu with the outplay, the Flash Q auto to take down Hoon.
That's what I'm saying, man. There's not a lot of HP there from a Hoon. This just feels like Dignitas falling apart as Gamsu finds another solo kill. Darkwings 5-0-3 on this Ahri. Both of these guys outperforming the people who replaced them. This is a massive confidence boost coming out for AOE right at the end. And they're, you know, you talk about it a lot, Steve. The fact that they are about to hit 500 if they win this game and still be in the bottom half of the standings is remarkable. AOE just going in with the ability to go even at the very end, I think is going to help them out quite a bit. They were struggling. They were losing a lot of games they weren't supposed to earlier on in the season, but this is the game where they look towards their mid lane as the big carry for them.
Mid lane, also top lane, like you were saying, and I got to bring it up, Yoshi. You know, 2 solo kills is Hoon away from the record as he might just die again. So unlikely that Hoon catches M&S at this point. But Gamsu, if he gets 14 more solo kills, he could catch him. He could get there. Unlikely, maybe. But technically not impossible.
I thought you said if he gets 4 more, I'm like, okay, you know, maybe 14.
Nope, 14 more, including
Appreciate
the 2
you,
he's already
Steve.
gotten. So he needs 16 total in the series.
Okay. Well, if Gamsu gets 14 more solo kills, we will in fact
I'll keep
him.
you updated. I'll keep the people at home posted as to how close Gamsu is to the solo kill record.
But yeah, as we start looking at it, I feel like AOE have done a good job scoring primary here, right? They've gotten 1 Rift Herald, they've gotten 1 Dragon so far, but it feels as though they're doing a good job actually taking down a lot of these structures. The bottom lane is pretty close to falling, but now they got to go for their secondary objectives that they get just for existing. By being this Vi, by being this Ahri, they're actually able to go for these massive combos onto the relatively immobile players of Insanity and Spawn if Diamond isn't around. And Hoon.
Hoon in trouble again.
This is not the Hoonin time I was promised.
Yeah, this is Hoonin time and the time to go to bed, everybody. Hoonin is struggling in this lane. Will die for a 5th time as Winnie and Skytech are linking up and punishing him. Lynx, meanwhile, left all alone to his own devices. Darkwings comes in as the hero, trades the kill, and can maybe turn it back around onto XU as well. Backs off as Spawn and Diamond have backed up XU. But trading kills there, really big for Darkwings and Lynx.
Oh yeah, finding that extra one, and it's been kind of wild now as we see another turret up here in the top line following each of these guys will be rewarded with a kill. But it's kind of fascinating watching the way that XU and Spawn have been playing around Darkwing as they're constantly trying to find him, and again, they are trying to find this guy.
And the charm comes out from Darkwings. Difficult to kill Diamond. He's very tanky, but Darkwings is actually chewing through that health bar. Turret falls. Darkwings does not have Spirit Rush or Flash, so cannot force the engage.
XU going to be trying to pick up this Hexa Dragon, but Winnie in the corner.
Is he going to go for it? He has time, but he's looking to approach. He's looking to get onto Spawn.
He doesn't know.
I don't think they care about the Dragon. Go for the fight afterwards. Vault Breaker charged. They didn't have the equalizer from Skytech. I think they thought that they had a little bit of time. But they're linking up now. Oh, this is a deep invade. Dignitas get out. Okay, Insanity should be safe.
I also just want to point out, this was tweeted a while back, but Dignitas did in fact see you guys saying that AOE was 80-20. And their response was not y'all wild. We'll see how wild they actually are. Because we know that Dignitas, both these teams, I always like to say, lose like KT. They will lose fighting, right? Both these teams will be going for plays even when the game seems a little bit hopeless. And now we are going to be paying attention to how well AOE can make proactive plays. So always focus around their jungler Winnie. It's very rare that other players will be making solo plays around the sides. They tend to play a lot of relatively front to back, like really like spearhead style of engagements. They will go for the backline. And while Diamond's on a great champion against that, they need to keep themselves alive.
Oh, this could be a good start for Dignitas to get back into it. Gamsu still alive for now, but the lethality Varus. Diamond actually ate him away from the damage, but it is enough. Spawn picks up the kill. They get a pick in the side lane.
Spit him out. Give him over to Spawn. That's exactly what we need to see.
Yeah, he stole too many kills earlier, so.
Still a lot of kills. Yeah, I mean, Spawn is relatively strong, but like gameplay has not centered around him at all. Kind of like it didn't last game, right? Dignitas were trying to make plays, but the front line would crumble and Spawn would run out of mana. This time, Spawn, he's not necessarily camping up in a lane, really being oppressive with the poke, not able to get that done whatsoever, and is also relatively far away from completing the mirror mana.
I want to say, I don't know the exact number, but if we had some kind of like graph to show off how many fights have actually been team fights, I'd say it's, you know, out of the 26 kills, maybe 5 have actually been when everyone's grouped up. Most of the fights, most of the kills have been picks. It's been these little skirmishes, not these big front to backs where Spawn, the lethality Varus, can actually look to do some damage. Now we have a setup where Spawn can actually start poking out AOE before the fight starts. Link splashes. That's equalizer down from Skytech. Winnie's diving deep onto Spawn. AOE's not there to back up, and now Darkwings goes in. XU with the patience. Hoon with the patience. They have AOE kind of trapped here. But AOE are still together. Gamsu with the steadfast presence knocks XU back as Hoon is quite low. AOE are dancing around this fight. Not concerned about the Jax on their flank with 100 health. They go to Insanity, and they pick off the Talia. Dignitas are falling apart in this fight. A double kill to Lynx.
Wow, AOE maintaining their composure in that last fight. Dignitas, again, so uncoordinated in this game, and AOE, the exact opposite. Always know what they want to do. They're going over towards the Baron. That's what they want next. Now, XU was the king of steals in 2022, stealing more neutral objectives than anybody. We'll see if they can do it again.
As Glacial Prison and Arctic Assault, that's it. No flash available. Bane of Corruption in. Lynx tanks that one up. Everybody's rooted. A lot of damage coming in from the Lynx.
He does it!
Good! XU gets it! And this could be a team fight wipe as well. Double kill to Spawn. Hoon will be traded. Darkwings and Lynx in the pit against XU and a manaless Spawn. But here comes Insanity to turn the play. XU falls, but Lynx and Darkwings surely die now. They got Spawn. Insanity versus Darkwings. Who wins this? triple kill to Lynx as he falls, and Darkwings gets out of there. Insanity and Diamond cannot continue the chase. So Dignitas, they get the Baron steal, and they almost ace AOE. What a turn!
What a turn coming through, but the big shutdown on Darkwings is still alive. Dignitas, they put themselves back in an even position because they don't have a whole lot of Barons left. With that arrow killing one, almost killing a second one, gives Dignitas what they need to actually come over. And we said it, XU, the king of stealing the Baron, gets yet another steal here in order to keep Dignitas in the game. But even afterwards, look at this. Spawn's playing Lethality Varus with no mana. He doesn't do hardly anything in this upcoming fight. He gets a couple of Halo Blades down, but like, great. It's mostly just the amount of damage that Lynx can put down. And afterwards, you don't need more mana from Darkwings to use what is left of your ultimate. They find themselves out, and here comes Insanity. Okay, Glacial Prison onto Skytech. The support is picked. And a continued chase from Hoon. Can you body block the Vault Breaker? It works. Gamsu's here, Steadfast Presence is available. Seismic Shove pulls back in Winnie, so you have to just ult in and hope for the best, but that is two huge picks for Dignitas. That's what we said. They will win or lose fighting. The way that both these teams have been playing around, but now we have, is it Diamond and Insanity, the only one still with the Baron buffs? This is such a difficult siege for them to actually go for. The waves are still coming through. But because we saw that AOE were on the sidelines already, the waves are not in a position for Dignitas to do anything with. They're not going to get really any objectives off of this other than this mountain, or excuse me, Hextech Dragon. It is their third dragon. This gets them closer to the soul. And there's no contest from AOE, no chance at a steal. So it feels like it's going to come down to a Dragon Soul fight, most likely maybe the Baron instead, since that will be on the map about a minute earlier. And when it comes to these objective setups, if AOE can't be proactive, which they had been for most of the game, using Winnie and Skytech to catch Dignitas, then the Lethality Varus will actually be putting in a lot of work. I do actually favor Dignitas from this point in the game. I think they're in a good spot right now, Joshi. Favor, I think, is a strong word. That is a 3-item Caitlyn coming through. That does a lot of damage and will be shredding through the front line for Dignitas. It is very, very touch and go with how these fights will erupt. I think whoever starts the fight will win it more often than not. And so that is going to be a situation where both teams need to be proactive with the way that they want to play. If you can force Spawn to actually back up and lose a ton of DPS, that's big. If you can prevent Lynx from actually hitting, that's also going to matter quite a bit. So you can't afford to get picked, and both teams have so many pick tools. AOE have made an identity for themselves as a team that pulls the trigger, they commit to the play. They got to commit to the play right now as they go in onto Diamond. They caught Spawn too. Gamsu with the flank. Teleport from Hoon. He's going to have to hold off a lot of members of AOE, but they're doing it so far. Spawn is untouched, and a big seismic shove from Insanity will help the play go even further in Dig's favor. Lynx trying to do what he can on this 3-item Caitlyn, but you just don't have the range. Does a lot of damage to Insanity, but Ace in the hole tanked up by Diamond. So Gamsu's down. Dignitas keep all their members up. Big fight. Nothing to take afterwards, though. The big thing that is going to be gone after that fight is Winnie's flash. It makes his engage that much more difficult to actually get in range of crucial targets. But, I mean, AOE were the one who started that fight a little bit. They were trying to find the actual engage, not really able to get anything further. And so, as the turret goes down, Dignitas finally find themselves with a small gold lead. We also got to face the music. The damage coming through from Dignitas is low during these extended team fights, right? Insanity doesn't do any real damage to almost any of the frontline members of AOE. He takes forever to even punch through Lynx, and it really is Lethality Varus, right? They do not have extended DPS during these fights. They really need to find a situation where the geography favors them, or they're probably just going to get run over by the burst from AOE. Alternative. They have the Lethality Varus to poke out the Squishy Ahri and the Rumble. So I actually think, in general, Spawn played that very well. It's what got them the kill. Diamond also played it very well, keeping Spawn safe, because Gamsu had a really good flank as we're to live right now and setting up for the Baron spawning in a minute. If Diamond can stick on Spawn, keep Spawn in these fights, and prevent Winnie from diving on him, Darkwings from diving on him, Dignitas have an angle in as the kills are dead even. Gold dead even. Feels like a fight mostly between the 80 carries. Darkwing's on a flank. I mean, he's even chunking XU. Won't be able to kill him, but is a chunk, and so now Dignitas, you have to be very careful. If you can set up a situation that's favorable to spawn, it's going to be a huge win for Dignitas. If you set up a situation that's favorable for Lynx, who's just going to be auto-attacking the entire time, very favored for AOE. And so these setups will matter quite a bit. Dignitas, they go in.
Oh, they had vision on Skytech. That's flash out from the Rumble, so less defensive tools. Now they're on to Winnie, who also does not have the flash. Chain of Corruption is in, and they have the damage to get through that health bar. And now Skytech's in trouble too. Insanity continues with the Weaver's Wall. Dignitas might have just done it there. Who needs to fight over the Baron if you just killed 3 of them in the mid lane? Darkwings is going to have to put in some overtime here. A lot of damage against one. That's huge. Might have just saved the game. Can Dignitas still end?
It's going to be an inhibitor turret and an inhibitor at the very least. AOE, they have 17 seconds left before Skytech comes back up. Darkwings, if he picks one more person, that might be enough to even save the Baron, but the inhibitor going down does buy Dignitas quite a bit of time. They can go back, steal away all these camps, and be back on the table for this upcoming soul of the Hextech Dragon.
It's 40 seconds for Dragon to come up. Everybody from AOE will be respawned by that point. They could look to trade for the Baron. We're in a messy macro game setup right now because Dignitas are trying to get the resets up. XU is delayed. Winnie is about to have the ultimate. Ball breaker number 2, and he will have it now. Deep in enemy territory. I think you've gone too far, Winnie. Okay, back off. That's good.
There you go. All right. Ultimates are up. Flashes are available for Insanity and Spawn, but not for Lynx. That makes it way harder for AoE to set this up. But on the other hand, somebody that we haven't talked about as much, Skytech on this Rumble support is now here first. The equalizer is so difficult for Dignitas to actually try and walk through. I think that the tempo is going to favor AoE. They can prevent Dignitas from walking in effectively, and by the time they get over here, it's going to be too late.
XU is approaching for the potential steal. It is secured. Keeper's Verdict
back up.
Used to knock back Insanity. Can AoE get out of the pit now? Darkwings has the Spirit Rush and gets over the wall, so AoE deny it. Oh, Darkwings goes back in for more. Doesn't land the charm, though. I like the look. Dignitas will now try and get towards the Baron.
Who's not here? Okay, AoE. I was wondering if they were going to try and make something happen, but without Darkwing's ultimate, he's only, 2/3 of a champion, so do have to back away a little bit. AoE, the decisiveness that won them game 1. Not necessarily coming through. XU's flanking.
He's got the Glacial Prison. They're going on to Skytech. Again, the squishy Rumble support. Isolated in the mid lane and taken down. I think that could be Baron.
And Hoon, going to be on the other side of the map, will be backing away. Yeah, it looks like that's enough to dissuade AoE. The instant call, hey, we're not going to contest it, just give it up. We still have Lynx. He's still going to be a problem for the other team later on. AoE not going to be losing any more members for this objective. They did get themselves a Hextech Dragon. They do slow down the soul from Dignitas. But it does feel as though we're just kicking the can down the road. We're still waiting for that one explosive fight. And, oh, they know Lynx and Winnie are here. They don't know where, but there they are.
Oh, they see Lynx, rather, as the Kaylin. Yeah, he's just dead. Oh, rough from AoE, who are thinking maybe we can catch Hoon all alone. Deep teleport coming in from Insanity. Weaver's Wall's available. There's no escape path for AoE. Insanity flashes in, but actually misses the combo.
Wow.
Winnie and Darkwings get out. That's flash out of the Vi, though.
Both of them being alive might prevent the game from ending, but Darkwings has no ultimate. Winnie has no flash. Lynx is still dead for 25 seconds. Dignitas got to try and end the game on this push, but they're down a ton of ultimates. Their engage is tough. It really is just Diamond going straight for it.
And they pull it off with just that. Skytech already chunked down. Keeper's Verdict throws away the minions, buying more time for Lynx to spawn. AoE are not looking for the fight. They actually almost bait Spawn to his death, so Diamond now has to use the ult to save his AD carry.
Okay, well, they do back out. The kill onto Lynx was just that. It was only a kill onto Lynx. No new objectives actually fall. So Dignitas, they're setting themselves up, right? We've been praising this team so much throughout this year for their ability to shot call. Diamond and Sandy bouncing ideas off each other.
Glacial Prison is in. Chain of Corruption as well. Oh, he jukes out on the arrow. And Winnie jumps in now onto Diamond. Has flash, uses it over the wall. The solo laners are not with Dignitas. But AoE do not push for more. Oh, those arrows do so much damage to this Rumble support. No HP built. Just a little bit of AP. They're also pushing the side wave, so Dignitas, they continue the siege. They have supers pushing mid, and they're also cracking these adders now.
And this is where AOE makes their money. They see that there is a split push off on one side. AOE has been so good. I've seen them in this exact spot win so many team fights by just sending Winnie in on a single target. And they do it yet again here to try and keep themselves in the game.
Ooh, Lynx and Darkwings are taking so much damage from Spawn.
They have to back away.
This Lethality Varus is putting in a lot of work right now. And AOE, I don't think, they have to be decisive. They have to pull the trigger. They cannot win the battle of attrition. As Skytech has to flash away from the chain of corruption. Big seismic shove back. This is the final fight from AOE. They got to find something here. X2 engaged. John still alive. Darkwings gets onto the back line. Doesn't have enough damage to blow them up, though. No one's fallen from AOE yet. They can reset to fight under the Nexus turrets. We saw the 1v1 bot lane. Gamsu's now rejoining with the big flank here. Charm lands on the spawn. Diamond's got the ultimate again, but Gamsu gets on him. Insanity in trouble. Teleport coming in from whom? Dignitas. They lose their mid laner. They trade for the enemy top laner. Winnie still alive. Skytech still alive. Darkwings is doing so much in this fight with back-to-back charms and is looking for another one. Diamond picked up. AOE have done it. Winning the fight to defend the base. How much more can they get?
Their waves are pushed so far back. They're trying to hunt, but there's another dragon in 30 seconds. They should get that. Darkwings trying to find anybody who is still a straggler, but Spawn does manage to get themselves out. AOE with a fight on their doorstep. Lynx is untouched. Darkwings is untouched. 8-0-10 now on this Ahri. Such a clutch player in making sure that they keep themselves alive. And now as we look towards this next dragon, AOE very likely to put themselves one dragon away from the Hextech Soul after being down 3-1.
They're going to get it? I mean, it's 5 seconds and it spawns. They had members there, but they backed off. It's Lynx and Winnie, but teleport from Insanity. This is bold. Lynx can hit it over the wall. Okay, oh no, XU's going to be in range. Can XU go for the steal? If he can get in there. No, there's an engage from AOE onto XU. It's secured by Winnie. They lose Darkwings. Without Darkwings, I don't think AOE can win this, but the flank from Gamsu might just save the play. XU is down. It's up to Lynx. This Caitlyn's got to put in work. Hoon's looking for the Caitlyn. Keeper's Verdict knocks him back. Spawn's doing damage. Triple kill to Spawn. Lynx cannot get in range to hit anybody, and Lynx will fall. Spawn with a quadra kill. Gamsu now chased down. Insanity flashing forward. Penta. Is this gonna be it? It's a Penta kill.
Oh my god, we said it's a battle of the AD carry. Spawn comes up big in this last fight, taking down every single member of AOE. And Dignitas, they find themselves, it's a 1-1 situation, no tiebreaker, but sole possession still of second place. They take this back, show that game one was a bit of a fluke, and Dignitas still, I mean, it's still a spot where even with how dire that game was looking early on, they're still able to bounce back.
Spawn goes from LCS starter to now back in Challengers League to getting a pentakill in the final game. You were talking all about the cop from AOE. It's going to be hard for a Lethality Varus to play into the front line. It was just about hitting those shots, chunking them out, and then showing up in that last fight to clean things up. 15 kills! Insane performance from Spawn. You got to root for the guy as he continues his journey now into playoffs going forward. And the journey of him, it's not a preferred journey of a pro player, but hey, you got to work with what you got. I think Spawn's doing just that.
Good stuff coming out for Spawn. Looking forward to what we are going to be doing. But when we come back after the break, we're actually going to be bringing a special guest to interview Dignitas' XU after the break.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our Verizon post-game interview. No special guests on the broadcasting end. It's still me that you're stuck with in the cats, but we are going to be talking to a special player, XU. First off, I mean, there's the win at the end. I know it definitely probably wasn't what you and the team had hoped for coming out of this week. The week is done. How are you? Just tell me about your thoughts of the weekend in general.
I think this weekend was pretty brutal. I think it was a reflection of our bad practice for the last few weeks. So I think honestly it's good for us. It's kind of eye-opening, and I think going into playoffs we're going to focus up a lot more. And I mean, especially for me, I'm going to try to double down, put down more time to practice and like study and make sure that we're on form when it comes to playoffs, so we don't play like this again.
Which is super fair. And then you're talking about just bad practices. Is it just that, like, what happened? Just running out a little bit of steam, just up on the scenes, or what's kind of contributed to this?
Well, this week, pretty much everyone on our team was sick, so we actually canceled scrims, and then when we did scrim, we would either scrim short or like no one was really too focused because like everyone is suffering. So, I mean, even today, like we only played with 2 people in the office or 3 people in the office because there's still people who are sick. So that definitely sucked.
Well, hopefully everyone is feeling better, starts to feel better soon, because it's definitely the season for that. That's no fun at all. And I don't want to just sit here for the interview and just go on about the negative of things. So we're gonna 180. We're gonna switch it up a little bit. So on the show, we're doing reflective time of the teams and their time during the split. And I wanted to ask you about a couple of your teammates' journeys and what you think of them that has happened so far this split, okay?
Okay.
All right. So first off, going on to the split, who do you think has just had the best spirits overall? And you're allowed to answer yourself for any of these too.
The best spirits? Probably like Diamond or both Davids. They're pretty like hopeful even if we have bad days. So, yeah.
Both the Davids. I love that. All right, then how about who is just the most clutch player? Always clutches up when you need them to.
Right now we're not very clutch at all. So I would say none of us deserve like the title of being clutch right now. But usually it's David, like Insanity. I would say that like he's a player that come playoffs, like I have no doubts that he'll be the best mid in the tournament. So like I guess that's clutch. Yeah, even if he has bad regular season games, like he'll just shit on everyone later, so it's okay.
Hey, all that matters is going to be the playoffs and the end of it. And give yourself and the team more credit too, because there is a lot of the split that y'all are doing fantastic, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Who is like just the most entertaining? Whether it's in scrims, during the game, just like that one person that's always just good for a laugh.
Usually Diamond is pretty good about that, and then Diamond is good at like making jokes, and Hoon is good at just being a clown. Like everything he does is just funny. Like he's not intentionally funny, but he's just funny. So I think Hoon brings like a really lighthearted mood to the room usually.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then, and I know this one is a little bit hard to talk about after this week, but just the most reliable, and we'll talk about weeks 1 through 5 for that.
I mean, like, I think everyone on my team is reliable. Like, when it comes to games that actually matter, I think I have full faith in everyone on our team, so, yeah.
Right? I love that. And then, anything else that you want to be saying before I let you go? Anything else before we get to see you all in playoffs?
Hopefully the next time I come back on an interview, it'll be after a good win and not after whatever happened today, but yeah. I think we're all really excited for playoffs, so it'll be a good couple next weeks.
All right, I lied. There's actually one more quick question. Mark wants to know when you're coming back over to play Mario Party.
I mean, after you win NACL, I'll come over and stomp all the other people who played Mario Party.
There you go. There you go. Thank you so much for talking with me, XU. Best of luck going on to playoffs, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, one more series for the day, and it's going to be the one that has all of the tiebreaker implications on the line. It's going to be Golden Guardian Challengers going up against a wild card. So get your popcorn, get any drinks that you might need, and be back in a few minutes.